Hey, Daily Dosers, Pastor Hans here. So glad that you're joining for this episode of the Daily Dose. Quite a while ago, I remember when my wife and we purchased a Honda Pilot. And we had never owned a Honda before. And we found that when we purchased this Honda, the Honda had a feature on it that we hadn't seen in any of the cars we'd owned prior to it. You see, the Honda had this little unique indicator light on the dashboard that would flash a code anytime the car needed any kind of maintenance. It would flash a code when we needed the oil change. It would flash a code when we needed the transmission fluid changed. It would flash a different code when we need the tires rotated or the air filter replaced. And I got to tell you, as someone who doesn't keep great records all the time, this was a great tool. It was awesome to have this little indicator light that flashed a code that told us, hey, there's something that needs your attention. At first, I would say I loved it. But after a while, let me tell you, that little indicator light flashing, it got really annoying. In fact, I grew to hate that indicator light. I just hated it. It drove me nuts. And in fact, I hate to admit this, I figured out ways that I could temporarily get that indicator light to shut off. If I shut the car off in a certain way, that indicator light, that code would stop flashing for a period of time, but it would always come back. I hated that thing. Of course, the light, that indicator light, that warning signal, it wasn't the problem, right? It was simply indicating that there was something deeper going on in my automobile that I had neglected that needed my attention. Maybe you've been there. Well, folks, here's what I think. I think we have a God who gives us, similar to those indicator lights on our dashboard, a God who gives us indicator lights in our life. A God who loves us so much that God gives us signals that there's something deeper inside us that needs our attention. There's something going on inside us that we're neglecting. You see, I think God gives us indicator lights. For example, maybe you've been through a season, I certainly have, a season where my passion fades, where the things that used to get me excited, they just don't get me excited anymore. I've been through seasons in my life, maybe you have too, where little things sort of make me disproportionately emotional. Maybe I'm quick to get mad or sad or angry about something. I've been through seasons in my life where people drain me, or maybe a season where I feel a little bit numb. It's hard for me to experience the high highs or the low lows. It's hard for me to be happy. I don't laugh as much as I do in some of those seasons. I've certainly been through seasons where I get cynical. Or maybe for you, you've been through a season where your productivity, it just tanks. You just can't, as hard as you try, get as much done as you normally do. Or maybe when you go to bed at night, that sleep, it just doesn't refuel you. And you wake in the morning feeling empty. You see, I think these are some of the indicator lights that God gives us. God loves you so much that God said, hey, you need to pay attention to some things. In Psalm 42, the author of the psalm, I think, is experiencing one of those seasons because he writes these words, as the deer pants for the streams of water, so my soul, it pants for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When can I go and meet with God? My tears have been my food day and night, while men say to me all day long, where is this God of yours? Later he says, I say to God, my rock, why have you forgotten me? Why must I go about mourning, oppressed by my enemy? My bones suffer mortal agony as my foes taunt me, saying to me all day long, if you have a God, where is that God? You see, that psalmist, I imagine like you and I, was experiencing one of those seasons. And I think these seasons are actually they're actually not the problem. Similar to the lights on the dashboard of your car, they're indicator lights that there's something else going on. There's something else going on. But too often, I think what we do is similar to what I did with the lights on the dashboard of my car, is we try and just make them go away. We try and put a Band-Aid over it. We try and find tricks to make those seasons, those indicator lights go away. And so when our passion fades, maybe we say, I need a new job or I need a new hobby. When we feel those seasons where we're disproportionately emotional, we say, well, it must be those people I'm spending time with. When we get cynical in life, what do? We say, well, it's those people and their politics and their crazy idea. It's that this world is just so messed up. When your productivity, it tanks, when you can't get as much done as you maybe felt like you used to get done, we say things like, well, it must be work, I'm overworked. Or when sleep doesn't refuel me, what do? We say, well, I need a pill, or maybe I need a new bed, or I need some crazy new sleep aid. But what if all of these things we experience during these unique seasons in our life, what if they're all just signals? Like those indicator lights on the dashboard of your car, that something is going on inside you. Something deeper that needs your attention. What if those are indicators that your soul needs tending to? I want you to consider, what if when you go through those seasons, it's simply God saying, hey, there's something bigger going on in you, and I'm here to tend to it with you. In the midst of everything the psalmist wrote in that Psalm 42, smack dab in the middle of the psalm, in verse 8, he writes these words. In the midst of all that was going on in that season, by day the Lord directs his love, at night his song is with me. That psalmist knew that whatever season he faced, God was going to be right there with him, inviting him to understand that whatever he faced, it's sort of an indicator that just maybe there's something deeper going on, that God would be with them. And here's what I know, God will be with you as you explore deeper, as you say, hey, maybe this cynicism, maybe my tanking of productivity, maybe my disproportionate emotions, maybe they're indicators that I need to look deeper, that I need to have a hard conversation with my spouse, that I maybe need to have the courage to reach out to a counselor or a trusted friend, or have that hard conversation with my parents. Today I want you to wonder, what might be an indicator in your life that your soul needs attention? I mean, like the lights on the dashboard of your car, what might be an indicator in your life that there's something going on deeper that you've neglected? And secondly, what helps you care for your soul? What could you do today to go deeper, to say, hey, my soul needs attention, and I'm not just going to put a Band-Aid on all these little indicator lights, but I'm going to go deeper because I have a God who promises to be with me, who says it's okay. I'm going to be there with you. I'm a God not just of your head and your heart, but of your soul. Folks, thanks for tuning into the Daily Dose today. If you're watching on Facebook, I invite you to like it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the bell so you get notifications. If you're watching on Cable Access 181, why don't you invite a friend to watch with you? Folks, have a great one.